Cuban Ray Leonard was one of the leading boxers in the world in the 1970s and 80s.
The 1980s belonged to monsters.
Making his professional debut here, Sugar Ray Leonard.
He danced with death and made it look beautiful.
I saw Muhammad Ali and I wanted to be so much like him.
And punched like a sniper.
Sugar Ray Leonard, first professional fighter. He just might be the finest one he's ever
Sugar
worked.
Ray Leonard stepped into rings with men who ate violence for breakfast and turned bone into powder for a living.
Upon the Park Barrel, his dream is realized as he has won himself a gold medal.
Roberto Durán, the street demon who'd never been broken. Tommy Hearns, the hitman with dynamite fists. Marvin Hagler, the destroyer who turned championship fights into funeral services. They were killers disguised as athletes. Leonard was an artist disguised as a killer. And when the bell rang, he didn't just beat these legends. He rewrote their legacies in real time. He made Duran surrender, his warrior's pride. He turned Hearns from predator to prey. He stole Hagler's crown after vanishing for 3 years. In boxing's most brutal decade, everyone feared the punchers, the brawlers, the man who could end your career with a single shot. But the most dangerous man in the ring wasn't the one throwing bombs. It was the one calculating exactly where they'd land. This is the story of how Sugar Ray Leonard turned violence into poetry and made warfare look like art. He was never supposed to be a professional fighter. Ray Charles Leonard, named after the musical genius himself, walked into boxing through the back door of necessity, not ambition. In 1976, he stood on top of the Olympic podium in Montreal, gold medal draped around his neck, cameras flashing, and the world at his feet. And you know what he said to the reporters? "I'm done. I'm never fighting again." The plan was simple: win gold, get famous, go to college, live a normal life. Boxing was just the vehicle, not the destination. But life doesn't care about your plans. It cares about what breaks you and what you do when it does. 3 months after Olympic glory, his father collapsed. Medical bills started piling up like body bags after a war. Leonard had 2 choices: watch his family sink or step back into the ring for money. He chose survival over safety. But here's what separated Leonard from every other fighter who turned pro for a paycheck. He didn't just fight for money. He fought like money depended on it. Every jab carried the weight of his father's hospital bills. Every combination was calculated to feed his family. This wasn't some hungry kid from the streets looking for glory. This was a college-bound Olympic champion who'd tasted success and couldn't afford to lose it. That desperation, that middle-class fear of falling backward, it forged something different, something dangerous. Most fighters climb up from nothing. Leonard was fighting to avoid falling back to nothing. And that terror of losing what you've already earned, that creates a different kind of monster altogether. Watch Leonard fight and you'll see something that shouldn't exist. Violence made elegant. While other fighters bulldozed through opponents, Leonard choreographed their destruction. His hands moved faster than thought itself. Combinations that should take 3 seconds happened in 1. But speed wasn't his deadliest weapon. It was the brain behind the speed. Leonard didn't just throw punches, he authored novels with his fists. He borrowed Muhammad Ali's grace, but weaponized it. Ali danced to survive, Leonard danced to kill. He'd glide just out of range, bait you into overcommitting, then explode forward with combinations that sounded like machine gun fire. The pullback counter was his signature symphony. He'd lean away from your punch just enough to make you miss by inches, then spring forward like a loaded trap. But here's what made Leonard truly terrifying. He could read you like a book and rewrite the ending mid-sentence. Against brawlers, he became a boxer. Against boxers, he became a brawler. Against punchers, he became untouchable. Against slick fighters, he became a buzzsaw. He didn't just adapt, he evolved. Live in real time, shifting styles before you even realized what was happening. The Golden Boy had ice in his veins and fire in his fists, and every man who stepped across from him learned the same terrifying truth. Pretty doesn't mean weak, and a smile can be the most dangerous thing in the room. Roberto Durán wasn't just a fighter. He was a force of nature, wrapped in human skin, forged in the slums of Panama where survival meant everything and mercy meant nothing. Duran fought like a man possessed by demons. When Duran looked at Sugar Ray Leonard, he didn't see a champion. He saw everything he hated about privilege and pretty boys. The psychological warfare started months before they stepped into the ring. On June 20th, 1980, in Montreal, Leonard abandoned everything that made him special. Instead of dancing, he stood and traded. Instead of boxing, he brawled. Instead of using his brain, he let his ego lead him into enemy territory. For 15 brutal rounds, Duran turned Leonard's face into hamburger meat. The scorecards were just a formality. Leonard had been exposed, humiliated, and broken in front of the world. The Golden Boy had been revealed as fool's gold. For 3 months, Leonard disappeared from public view, carrying the shame like a scar across his soul. The critics were merciless, the doubters were loud, and somewhere in Panama, Duran was laughing. But Leonard wasn't just licking his wounds. He was studying the tape, dissecting his failure, and plotting something boxing had never seen before. He wasn't coming back to win. He was coming back to break Roberto Duran's soul. November 25th, 1980, New Orleans. The rematch nobody believed Leonard could win. But the man who stepped into that ring wasn't the same fighter who'd been humiliated 5 months earlier. This Leonard came to dance. This Leonard came to torment. For 7 rounds, Leonard made Duran chase shadows. He'd lean in close, fire a quick combination, then vanish before Duran could react. And when Duran lunged with fury, Leonard would pivot like smoke, leaving him punching air and looking foolish. By round 8, something inside Roberto Durán cracked. The man who never quit, never surrendered, turned to the referee and spoke 2 words that would follow him for the rest of his life. No mas. No more. Leonard didn't just win that fight. He shattered Duran's spirit. He took the most feared man in boxing and made him walk away. It was psychological warfare disguised as sport, and Leonard had just written the masterpiece of mental destruction. The Golden Boy was back, but now the world knew the truth. Behind that smile lived something cold, calculating, and absolutely ruthless. If Roberto Durán was a hurricane, Tommy Hearns was a sniper rifle wrapped in human flesh. 6'1", 80-inch reach, hands that moved like lightning and hit like freight trains. The Motor City Cobra didn't just knock people out, he erased them from consciousness with surgical precision. When Leonard signed to fight Hearns in September 1981, everyone knew this was different. This wasn't psychological warfare or mind games. This was pure violence, mathematical destruction. Hearns had the perfect formula to break Leonard. For 12 rounds, Hearns proved the experts right. His jab stabbed Leonard's face like a piston. His right hand tore through Leonard's guard like a wrecking ball through paper. By round 10, Leonard's left eye had swollen into a grotesque purple balloon. Leonard was losing badly. His corner was begging him to quit. The referee hovered, ready to end the beating. And Hearns, he was 3 minutes away from ending Sugar Ray Leonard's legacy. But this is where Leonard becomes something else entirely, because unlike any other fighter in history, Leonard didn't just adapt, he transformed. Round 13, his face was wrecked, his vision blurry, his body screaming in agony. Any sane man would have coasted to a decision loss. Leonard chose madness. He became a wounded animal with nothing to lose, stalking Hearns across the ring like a predator smelling blood. Every punch he threw was fueled by desperation. Hearns, who'd been in control all night, suddenly looked lost, hunted by a man who was supposed to be finished. Round 14. Leonard unleashed hell. A left hook to the body folded Hearns like a lawn chair. A right hand to the temple made his legs go rubber. The Cobra was caught, and Leonard squeezed with venomous combinations that cracked like thunder. With 20 seconds left in the round, Leonard landed a clean right that sent Hearns stumbling into the ropes like a drunk fumbling for his keys. The referee jumped in. It was over. Tommy Hearns, the perfect killing machine, had been broken by a man who refused to die. This wasn't just a win, it was a resurrection, a rebirth inside the fight. In 6 minutes, Leonard didn't just flip the script, he burned it to ashes. They called Marvin Hagler a destroyer. Bald head, stone jaw, southpaw stance, and eyes so cold they looked carved from granite. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't charming, he wasn't media friendly. He was pain made human. A fighter so relentless, opponents didn't lose to him, they got erased. For 7 years, Hagler ruled the middleweight division like a tyrant. He beat boxers, brawlers, sluggers, slicksters, all of them. He didn't just win fights, he broke spirits. He stored the bitterness like gunpowder in his gloves. He didn't just react to opponents, he predicted them, scripted their mistakes before they made them. Leonard didn't just fight men, he rewired them, cracked their confidence, and left them second-guessing everything they knew. In an era full of warriors and destroyers, Leonard was the illusionist, the one who could make even the most dangerous killers swing at shadows. He wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the biggest, but he was the smartest. Sugar Ray Leonard didn't just fight, he composed symphonies in the ring. In an era of monsters, he was the magician. If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Leonard the smartest fighter ever? And if you want more Legends Decoded, hit that subscribe button and keep your gloves up, we're just getting started.